remember if we actually ever sat down and said, this is the science, XYZ. No. I think they grew into it and understood. Because eventually I gotten myself into a relationship.
Yeah, it's like you're going into the next question. Come on now, give it to us.
There was that question you guys brought up. Things have changed because I grew up around, I have sisters and women in my life, and it was not a shocker. I was prepared. And I had good friends. I had good friends who really helped me. I'll never forget. A very good friend of mine, Sheila Kangwaje. The daughters were friends. Okay. So we talked about this thing. This is like when Keza is about 8, 9. So we start talking about those things. She's like, those things. So she told me her experience with her daughter. And I just replicated that. Wow. We talked about it. And the daughter helped and talked to Keza, and they talked about visitors. So we talked about the visitors, and then I regretted. Wow. I regretted. Those who don't know. So we talked about visitors. Now, I think we spoke about them too early, because for 1 year
she was waiting for.
So she would come and tell me, now these visitors. These visitors, when are they coming? I said, sweetie, I don't know. When they come, you will know. And I will be the first one to know from you before you tell anyone. So she waits. And now she also does Hamalugambo, tells her little sister also. Because then,
little sister was also waiting for
now, so now we introduce the older one to deodorant. Now the younger one also wants. He said, no, you don't want yet. You don't need. And no, even me, because she pretends like she feels like a funk there. I said, no, there's nothing. Just in your time. Yeah. So the visitors fortunately come when they're visiting with my sister in Kigali. And it was very emotional for my sister. Because like, oh my God, my brother's daughter, what? She goes and cries. She wants to call me, but then she doesn't. But Keza can't wait to tell me. So we're talking, she's like, I need to tell you something, because I didn't know. I'd forgotten all about those things. And so when they fly back, they're getting ready to go back to school. So she tells me, So we were like, yeah! But I don't know why we are, But I'm like, oh my God.
The anticipation.
Yeah. And I don't know, things have changed. I don't know if it's things that kids eat today.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be 14.
Yeah.
Yes.
13, 14, 15. We're seeing 9, 10.
9, 10 days already.
You know?
Yeah.
So to answer what you were talking about, I was very prepared and ready for the visitors, and I knew how to go and shop for those things.
Wow.
She wasn't shy. She would send me a text and say, hey, Dad, when you pass by the supermarket, then I would hear stories like, oh, I'm cramping. I'm like, oh. So we had that conversation.
Yeah.
We had that conversation. We had a very, I really encouraged them to be open.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of relationship that I had with them. And I was very stubborn growing up, and I got a lot of beating. My dad I think they would beat me every Monday for what I did on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Next week, same thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't change because of the beating.
Yeah.
But the conversations, every time my dad would corner me and sit me down and talk, it worked. So for me, I went with that, even with the kids. Yeah. I actually, the other day we were talking, and I think the little one, she's very feisty, has gotten a beating from me. She had a habit, like to chew her sweaters and put holes in them. Wow. So I laid my hands on her once. But we would talk, and I tell this to parents. When they're little, talk to them, not at them. So there's a technique. I'd read some books. I actually would go down on one knee, so we're eyeballing and we're talking.
Yeah.
And we're negotiating. Yes. Yeah. So we did all those, fantastic things, and it was a beautiful journey. And I raised very good kids. I would get reports.
Yeah.
They visit and go and stay with other people, and people say, like, "But your kids are amazing.
Yeah.
You've done such a great job." And I'm like, it's just really the grace of God.
Yeah.
So I just want to dive in and ask about dating.
Yeah.
Dating as a single dad. So the questions are many, but did you date at all in these 17 years of the life of your child? Oh no, so that's about 15, 14 years.
Mathematics.
So divorce, separated, blah blah blah, all that's done now, and now you're fully fledged single dad.
Yeah.
You're allowed to date. Yes.
Yeah.
Did that happen? Let's start from there. Then we'll ask
Yeah.
the question.
Okay, you said 17 because you're doing the math. Keza is 17.
Yeah.
Out for 6 years, and this is also when I realized that I was actually in a bubble when I came back. For 6 years, me and my wife, I never, not even once, ever looked at another woman and wanted. True story.
Those men, they are still there in life.
Now, so I come back, and with working, we get on a plane, we're going for meetings, maybe Nairobi or SA, you're going with your friends, and there's 3 of you. But you get there, you're checking it, and you see people who you know. Then me, I'm like, then one of the guys is asking the other one, like, what's wrong with him? What doesn't he get?
Yes.
Me, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, but dude, I know you and
Exactly.
And
and people are like, auntie, I'm like, no, auntie, I don't know.
Tell me, I don't
No,
know.
because for me, that's how it was.
Yeah.
I never. And I had the luxury to be able to do that because I traveled. I was on a plane for almost the whole period when we were married. I was on a plane on Thursday going somewhere, coming back home on Monday. And because the 3 of us in the group lived in different cities, I was in LA, Dennis was in Chicago, Paul was in Minneapolis. So sometimes if you're in Asia, East Coast goes on another flight, the other guys. So they would leave me in Tokyo by myself in a hotel with a secular promoter.
Wow.
Meaning,
they're very good.
we've got paid. I could just go and find like a Japanese and start chopping some. But what for me the secret or what really helped me was the fear of God, because when we were doing Limitex 100%, we were serving God, fear of God, and we knew that this is what had made us, the relationship that we had with God. And it starts to just get hectic, and I have one experience. I'm going out somewhere and I talk to someone, just met them at the mall, and then the next day I talk to them again, and another day, and things happen. I was like, this is easy. But now I also console myself and say, but you see, my wife, she's the one who left. I stayed with the kids, so I justify. And before you know it, I'm on some rampage. But then my conscience just won't let me, because I'd been both. I have a very powerful testimony. Like, even I was born, raised in the church, then walked away, and then came back. So I've been a bad boy and I've been a good boy, and I tend to like good boy more. Yeah, there is more peace. These are the things that was stress. There was stress, and I was like,
wow, Isaac, wow. Maybe just now, I just want us to speak in a general sense, because we have many fathers watching this show, and we've usually asked ourselves, what's with, we have a certain demographic of men, and every time we're checking our analytics, we have more men coming onto the show, and when we ask, we hear that some are single men and some are women asking their men to watch the show. We love you, we see you, we hear you, we know, we love it. But I'd like to ask, in this whole thing of single parenting, we have far less single fathers than they are single mothers. What is your opinion on why this is the case?
There's a part of culture where our men feel cultured to not do certain things. It was easier for me because I did these things even when I was with my wife, or my ex-wife. And I remember my friends used to tell me that I'm putting them in trouble because I'm changing diapers. They would come to visit, and I'd be doing chores. So they'll be like, "Hey, bana katigwe, save yo, you know, katitina zeo mama bana was telling me to change diapers."
Isaac changes.
Hey. So they use you as an example. Now you those things, you need to what? You need to slow down. I said, now how? I said, no, actually me, I find pleasure in doing these things. Wow. And they still wouldn't get it. Yeah. So there's gotta be intentionality, because I wasn't born like that. Mm. But I know that this is my gap that I have to fill. Yes. I have to walk this journey, and I become intentional, and I make the choice and say, you know what, I'm gonna make this work. Mm-hmm. And it becomes easier. Yeah. And the men that have done that, you know, have thrived and conquered that space, and they've taken care of their kids, and it's not a chore, you know, it's life. Probably. Again, if you went scientific in the DNAs and how we're designed, women are designed more as naturals. Yes. But men can also be very adaptive. Yes. You know, but it's all that intentionality and willingness. You know, you have to want to do it. Mm-hmm. You have to want to do it like your life depends on it. Mm-hmm.
It is even by law. Yeah. So we've had people get separated, and we've had some men come and fight for custody of their children. Yeah. But ingrained in the law is an act of put the child first, what is in the best interest of the child. And they will not give you, unless otherwise for different reasons, prove the mother is unfit or incapable or whatever. Yeah. But all factors constant, the law, you will not be given a child as a single dad fighting for custody before the child is 7. Yeah. So I feel like it's ingrained, unless otherwise, wrong, unless there's something wrong. Yeah. So which brings me to like a follow up on that debate that if the law recognizes it, if science recognizes it, then isn't it going against nature for a man to raise his child singly? Isn't it clear that there must be something wrong? There must be something detrimental inside that could cause maybe that is at the detriment of the loss of the child, that you might not realize because you just want to be a super dad. That's all. You can only give what you can give. Yeah. Do you, in your experience maybe, or okay, generally speaking, do you ever feel that, because even as single moms, we know there's something missing. We know that there's something missing. But I always get the feeling that there's something missing even more when it's the dad. Yeah.
I don't know, for me, it's a different story. I've never felt like there was anything missing. I don't know, maybe I did a very good job. There I go again, tooting my horn. But on the same flip, it's the same thing with, I think it's the sign of the times. These things are dictated and put on us by society and community. Yeah. The whole thing. Look at what's happening today. The woman is doing very well in the workforce. Yeah. But then it's almost like by design the woman stays home and does very well. These are the things, and isn't it detrimental for the woman to be CEO? Because, you know, the same exact question you're presenting to me is the same I would present to a woman. But women are excelling. You know, you have women CEOs, EDs, and they're doing well. And it's the same way that men are doing well being parents to where, you know, you're not missing out on anything.
Time
Yeah.
to break the barriers and
Yeah.
break them down. And
No, me, I did a good job. I even used to get Happy Mother's Day wishes. True story. Yeah. I have some lady friends who they're like, Happy Mother's Day.
He was appreciated. And everyone was like, wow.
Yeah.
Now your children have grown, and
Yes.
you said they're with their mother.
They're with their mom, yeah.
You know those dynamics of she also has a man, and you know.
No, she doesn't actually.
She doesn't.
No.
So she has not even.
So that's why
introduced
people are
it.
whispering in the corridors.
Yeah, well,
I don't have women. No, no, we're good.
Dad.
No, we're good. 21.
Oh.
Those who know, no. I'm kidding.
Me.
No, because I joke about it, but I don't. I need to stop joking. But there's a thing with me, 21. You know, when I met my wife, she was 21. When I met my ex-girlfriend, she was 21, and somehow I raised them up until like 10 years, and then I look for another 21. No, I'm just kidding.
Fire.
Man, that should be edited. No.
That should not be.
No. But I just lost myself at 21.
Isaac, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. You really are a true definition of a father, and not just an involved father, but someone who's been able to do it on your own. For those of us who've had the privilege of meeting your beautiful daughters, you've done a good job. And for us, the mothers who are in that space, you know, just for us to be able to tell fathers out there that are doing the same thing, hey, we see you and we recognize your effort, what you're doing with your children. One of the important things that he spoke about was, you know, having a female friend that could help you through the process of mothering, especially girls, and would like to reach out to you as bump lovers. You know, you didn't carry the bump, but you're carrying the bump of raising a child. And we appreciate you, we see you, we hear you. Tell us more of your stories. Tell us what you're thinking about as a single father, or if you are a single mother who has an experience with a single father, what are you doing in your life? What are you doing to raise your children single-handedly as a dad? And Isaac will be on our pages, and he'll be answering all your questions. Until next time, we can't wait to see you. With love from Bump Love.